I'd like to have Arthur come up. Arthur is the lone fisherman in our group who has agreed to come to Taxwell West. So that's me very happy.
Hello, my name is Arthur Lorton, and I'm a fisherman here on the West Coast. I fish the Eastern Pacific from the EEZ of Mexico into Canadian waters and out to the 150 line. I spend approximately 120 days a year at sea, out of sight of land, and I've seen in the past 10, 12 years a lot more large whales, porpoise, than I have in the earlier years of my life fishing. It seems the ocean's a lot more healthy. With the marine mammals, you'll have to excuse me, I'm not used to speaking in front of a group of people. I'm on the take reduction team with the swordfish fishery, and I'm really proud of what my fishery has done to stay in business. We've all put in a lot of time and effort to keep fishing, and we've taken a lot of abuse from everybody, but we're fishing still. And as you can see here, there's a lot of swordfish off of California. We haven't had any interactions with the beaked whales and the porpoise and everything else with the pingers and our 36-foot extenders. It doesn't happen very much anymore. It's more a surprise to me if I catch a porpoise than anything. I don't catch very many, maybe one every 2 or 3 years now we'll have an interaction with a porpoise. Sea lions, on the other hand, on the inside here, as Jim said, there's a little bit more interaction with them, but there's a lot more of them than I've ever seen in my life. And what else can I say? I know this year we fished albacore. I fish all the way up in Canada and all the way out to the 150 line above Hawaii and stuff. And we've seen like more humpback whales than ever. When they come down from Canada and up in Alaska and stuff, they'll go out to where we're fishing. The albacore will push all the small bait fishes together, and there'll be big spots the size of this room, dark spots of either small sardines or anchovies. We're 200 miles offshore, and we're fishing the same area, and we'll see humpback whales come right through the spots of sardines and stuff. You'll see the albacore just bouncing off their back, and it's amazing how much life there is out there. And it's very hard for somebody that doesn't spend as much time at sea as I do to believe this. You guys look out here and don't see too much. This year on Halloween Day, I was on my way to San Pedro to unload, and between Point Doom and Palos Verdes in Santa Monica Bay, there was just about every kind of large whale you could think of. There was blue whales, sperm whales, pilot whales, humpback whales, and it was absolutely amazing. I don't know if any of you guys noticed that phenomenon, but I've never seen that close to the beach in a long time. And that's my old boat. And I don't know, is there any questions? How you doing, Josh?
Pretty good. I was just curious, and I know in the past a lot of frustration here, I'll maybe be talking about a variety of fisheries, but among fishermen, I think the thing I would hear the most frustration with was probably California sea lion. Is that still, if you look at other fisheries, not just the drift gill net, do you think that remains kind of the biggest frustration from the fisherman side of the equation?
Yes, the guys are getting a lot of interaction. They're smart enough to go up and down. They're probably one of the smartest things in the ocean. They can go up and down the nets, and they'll just swim, and they'll take the part of the fish they like. They'll move on and take another part of the fish, and they'll move on. And they can ruin a set pretty much, you know. It's amazing how much they can eat. And just, you know, just a couple of animals.
just flying surveys from a plane off of San Diego, we were seeing these fish, they were, must have been at least a foot long, they were light colored, and they were 20 to 40 gather around big,
Oh, yellowtail.
oh, those are yellowtail.
Yeah, they gather around the kelp patties
Yeah,
or float
yeah.
some.
Way offshore, yeah.
That's yellowtail. And down here off of California, late, in the latter part of our seasons, we see a lot of sperm whales on the outside of Cortez Banks, and there'll be a big, the green water plume will push out to the Cortez Banks, and then the other side is the blue-purple water. And on them edges, we'll see a lot of sperm whales, and that's, I don't set at night anymore unless, if I come into an area during the daytime, then I'll patrol, the area and the edge. And if there's whales on it, I'll give them that part of the edge, and I'll move on to a different part, and you'll find another edge that'll have bait and have the squid and have everything in it without the large whales there. And anymore, I don't, if I drive all night and get to an area at dark, I just shut my boat off and go to sleep and wake up in the morning and look around just to make sure that I'm not making a mistake.
Have you seen any pilot whales in the last 10 years?
Yeah, so I have some, it's not on this disc, I was hunting for the disc, and I see them basically in the same area as the sperm whales. We've seen quite a few rhesos and quite a few pilot whales, short fin pilot whales.
Yeah, did you see any change in their, how frequently you saw them in the last 10, 20 years?
Yes, yes, I don't see hardly any of them on the inside anymore. Most of them I see up off the Oregon coast. I seen 3 years ago, I seen just like a huge spot of them. There was a lot of animals, hundreds. And I haven't seen them like that. I used to see them all the time inside the California Bight, and we don't see them anymore. The water's not, I just don't think the water's as clean as it used to be.
Knowing that fishermen have a lot of knowledge of the sort of the natural history of the species they're looking at, how much do you all, though, have a sense of, say, the population structure of the fish that you're fishing, like adults versus juveniles, and how much you're taking from certain groups within the population? Is that something that you all keep records of and have kind of a running knowledge of, or is that?
Yeah, you pretty much, a good season, the swordfish, it's really abundant. There's not that many fisheries that are targeting swordfish in the Eastern Pacific. You got the Hawaiian longline fishery, there's maybe a couple hundred boats there. And then us on California, they think there's 4 longline boats that are based out of San Francisco. And there's a lot of swordfish. We average, in Southern California Bight here, the average is a little smaller. That run of fish comes from Mexico. And it's just a little smaller, you can tell the difference. It has more parasites and the skin's a little different. And the fish that comes from the mid-Pacific, it's larger, smooth-skinned and corduroy skinned fish, and it's much healthier looking fish. And that fish averages 200 pounds. And we're not seeing anything like they seen on the East Coast where their average fish went down below 100 pounds. It's not like that here.
So we have time for one more question?
You mentioned parasites. I was wondering, do you have any sense of the fish are having more parasites or less?
Can you help me out?
Can you speak louder, Francis? I know you
Speak
can.
louder. Do you have a sense if the fish are having more or less parasites in the last 10 years?
In the Southern California Bight, you'll see this fish that comes from Mexico, and the fish that comes up from there, that is, it has more parasites than the fish that come from the mid-Pacific and stuff. I don't know why, but it does. You'll see the little, they look like tags that come out of the fish, and there's quite a few more fish down here than the ones you catch up off of Monterey, for instance, that you'll see like that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.